we shall talk about how you can write a complete line of data or multiple lines of data using the function called as fgets. So fgets is a function whose prototype is declared in stdio.h. So again I'll declare star fptr as a pointer to a file type of a structure. I have defined an array of characters of width 80. Now in order to write, common sense tells me that I need to open the file in write mode. So I'm giving the name of the file as fgets underscore test.txt, opening it in write mode. Assuming there is no problem in creating the file, this particular if is not going to be executed. Alright. Then what I'm going to do is I'm asking the person to keep entering data. If he just presses enter on a blank line, that's when it indicates to me that I am done writing data. So first thing what is happening is I'm using a do while loop. I'm saying fgets buffer 80 standard in. So let me explain each of these parameters. Standard in means the input is coming from your keyboard. 80 is the maximum number of characters minus 1 that it should read. That means it can only read 79 characters because one character is required to add the null character. Buffer is the name of the destination where data is going to be stored. So fgets is reading from the keyboard. Alright. The maximum it's reading is 79 characters and it's storing into this particular thing. Alright. Now after reading from the keyboard, what I am doing here is using fputs, I am writing this particular content onto a file. So whatever was entered is put into this particular pointed to by this fptr onto the file. And then again what I am doing is I am saying fputs enter key and f pointer. Lot of this will be clear when you take a look at the demo which follows this particular program. You'll probably understand a fair bit of it, but when you look at the demo, a lot of things will be clear because I'll be doing certain manipulations and playing around with things to convince you how it works. Now suppose what I do is I enter on a blank line, I enter key. So buffer is going to have the value \n stored. That means it indicates this is the end of input and I'm going to close the file pointer. So let me at a very high level explain what I am doing here. Using fgets, I am reading from the keyboard maximum of 79 characters, one character for the null, into an array called as buffer. Now using fputs and fptr, which refers to this particular file, I am writing the buffer onto fptr so that there is an enter line, there is an enter key after every line. I am using fputs and writing onto the file. So after I write each line, I am just printing or putting the enter key into the file. Now let's say I keep entering 3-4 lines of data. Now I hit on a blank line, I press the enter key. Then buffer is going to have nothing. This is also going to write nothing. Here it's going to write an empty line, which is fine. But buffer is going to contain just the /n character. That's when I'm going to come out of the loop. Now the prototype of fgets is quite simple. The first parameter is going to refer to a place which is going to keep your data. In this case, buffer happens to be an array which keeps my data. Since an array is a pointer to a fixed address, that's why it is char star buffer. This n indicates the number of characters minus 1 that are going to be read from whatever input, and it is going to take each of those characters. At the end of the character, it's going to add a null and store it into the string. Suppose I enter 70 characters, the 71st character is going to be a null and it's going to write onto the file. The last parameter happens to be your source of input. In my case, the source of input happens to be the keyboard. Sometimes you can use another file to read from that file and copy it. So using fgets, you can read from one file and copy it to other file. That I'll be showing it in your demo. So instead of using just one file, instead of reading from the keyboard, you can read from other file and write it onto some other file. Now what happens is if it is able to keep getting data from fgets, okay, it will return a pointer to the buffer. Else null value will be returned if it is not able to get data from the file. For some reason it struggles to read data from the file. it will not return EOF, it will return a null value to that particular file. If it is successful reading a line, it will return a pointer to a character type of data to this particular address. So I hope you're clear with how we can write a number of lines to a file. Please take a look at the demo which follows this particular video. Then only your understanding is going to be complete.